Amidst a rapidly changing marketplace, BMW is taking a very strategic multi-energy approach for their future product lineup. From combustion to mild hybrid, plug-in hybrid, as well as full dedicated EVs, their lineup is really broad, and they're even going to be introducing hydrogen as well coming down the road. But one of their most standout vehicles over the past 5 years has been this BMW iX, their only electric SUV here in North America, and honestly, it is an absolutely amazing vehicle. Take the looks aside, that may be divisive, unfortunately for some people, but this car is truly phenomenal. It's probably one of the best driving modern BMWs, which is crazy to say. It's incredibly powerful now for this 2026 model year and is even more efficient than ever before. It features a unique structure, a unique design, and a unique interior experience that really is very unique all to the iX. And of course, in this video, I hope to take you guys on a full tour and in-depth review of this now 2026 BMW iX here in the top M70 trim. We're gonna go over and see what's all new for this 2026 model year, as it is a facelifted year for the BMW iX, and see whether you should consider this vehicle or hold out just a little bit longer for the all-new BMW iX3, which rides on an all-new dedicated battery electric architecture called Neue Klasse, and that is going to be powering a lot of BMWs down the road. There's a lot to get into, so let's go start with this all-new BMW iX. For this 2026 model year, of course, we have a lot of changes under the skin of the BMW iX, as it is a facelift or life cycle impulse, as BMW calls it. Under the skin, we now have a much larger battery pack for the M70 version we have here, as well as the new xDrive 60 variant, which is around 113 kilowatt hours. In this M70 variant, we are now getting more power than the outgoing M60, so we have around 650 horsepower and around 811 pound-feet of torque. Really impressive numbers here, which is awesome. But what's really cool is that there's a new xDrive 45 entry-level variant to the iX trim, which gets us a little bit of a smaller battery. Still pretty quick actually, but it's more affordable now for a few more buyers. For this M70 version, we are now seeing around 284 EPA miles of range on this particular one with these 23-inch wheels. But what's really crazy is that all of the range figures for every single BMW iX are incredibly conservative. And what I mean by that is that this thing gets way better range in the real world than it actually does from these tested numbers. For this one, for example, it may have an estimate of around 284 miles. We've gone well over 310 miles of range this week. So these BMW iXs are actually a lot more efficient than even I was expecting, which is amazing to see. So really great road tripping vehicle. And since this is the M70, 0 to 60 happens well under 3.5 seconds with a launch control mode, and it is a truly wild experience. And a lot of this efficiency can be attested to the changes BMW made for the 2026 model year, from revised wheel bearings to new silicon carbide inverters, all to help improve efficiency and squeezing out every extra mile you can out of that battery pack. Now, what hasn't really changed on the BMW iX is its charging performance. We have our charge door located over here on the passenger side here in the United States. Opening that up, we're gonna find two really conveniently placed buttons here to open up our AC charging as well as our DC charging. Now, the BMW iX runs on around a 400 volt-ish architecture, which means it doesn't get the full crazy speeds like up to 350 kilowatts you can see in some other EVs today. This one can charge up to around 195 kilowatts, and on AC charging, it can charge around 11 kilowatts. Pretty standard numbers here. BMW quotes a around 10 to 80% figure at around 25 to 30 minutes, which is totally fine for this space. But you have to remember, the all-new BMW iX3 is just about to go on sale with an 800 volts architecture, an all-new platform, as well as up to 400 kilowatt charging speeds. Really crazy numbers, but it's just showing how far technology has progressed in just a few years. Still though, this BMW iX is very impressive. Like I mentioned, range is really good, efficiency is really good still, so I still would not overlook this vehicle. It's still pretty impressive. Now, as much as me and many other journalists love the BMW iX for its amazing chassis, driving dynamics, comfort, technology, it's a futuristic spaceship on wheels, and unfortunately for some, the styling that BMW has gone with on the iX is a little bit polarizing. I don't really think so. I love it. but that's my own opinion. For 2026, we do have a little bit of some styling changes on the front end. So we actually have a new front bumper and grille design for the 2026 model year. And what they've done here is actually made a lot of the more shapes kind of echo the shapes of the grille. You're gonna see this in the updated headlights, which now have these kind of more vertical slats over here, kind of echoing the lines of the grille. And coming down here, we have a new bumper design. Now this is the M Sport bumper design since we have the M70. This kind of fascia is a little bit similar to what you're gonna get on an M Sport 60 xDrive as well as the 45 xDrive. So we have this vertical slat over here and a very aggressive lower gloss black bumper area over here, which is a little bit similar to what I've seen on the new X3 M Sport package design. So that's a pretty cool touch there. And again, the main new highlight up front is the redesigned grille. So now we have the BMW iconic glow. So as you can see, the grille does glow, which I actually think makes it look really cool. But what's also new is the pattern inside of this self-healing grille over here. So as you know, this is hiding all really of the sensors of the front of the vehicle behind this fascia here. And we have a new M design on this for the M70 model. And we also have new paint finishes. So this kind of gray sand dune-ish color finish is very similar to the one you can get on the new X3 and a few other BMW models. Now on the wheel and tire front of the BMW iX, we have probably one of the most inefficient wheels you can get for this vehicle. These are the upgraded 23-inch BMW individual bicolor wheels here. They're gorgeous. They fill out the wheel arches, and even with these Goodyear summer performance tires on them, we still have a little bit of some sidewall left. Though there are other wheel options, and the smaller you go, typically in the BMW range estimator, it's gonna say you're gonna get more range. So all of the wheels are kind of aerodynamic styled in the BMW iX lineup, but I think these look really, really great. We have the red M brake calipers back there, which are really nice, and hiding behind this wheel and tire combination is one of the best chassis tuning suspensions I have felt on an SUV. We have a twin axle air suspension on this vehicle, and yes, you can raise and lower itself, but its purpose really is to provide you ultimate and supreme comfort while also making the vehicle really sharp and dynamic and keeping the body in check at all times. And this thing does all of that extremely well. And we also get rear wheel steering. And surprisingly on this vehicle, it's not super aggressive and you honestly don't really notice it. It really is just there to help you get a little bit more turn in parking lots for a better turning circle and going around corners to really get you sharper into those corners. And again, for a vehicle that is an SUV, that's an EV, it handles like a sports sedan, and I genuinely mean this. Go out and drive one. It's a truly surreal experience in the BMW iX. At the rear of the BMW iX, not much has actually changed for this LCI. We do, of course, have the new M70 badge over here, of course, the new paint finish, and I really like the blacked out door handles as well as all the blacked out trim on the side of the BMW iX. We do have a sporty lower bumper area over here, which actually looks quite nice, but otherwise it's very similar to before. Again, really cool, slim, 3D-esque taillights as well. Popping open the trunk area, we find a little bit of a button over here. We can also use our key fob and kick to open as well, a few different things. Now, the cool thing about the BMW iX is you also get a lot of trunk space. So back here behind this second row, we have around 35.5 cubic feet of cargo space. Full down the second row, you're gonna get around 77 cubic feet of cargo space, which all of this is actually not too far off than one of this main rivals, the Tesla Model X. Also back here, we have some nice LED lighting, some kind of grab handle points over here, as well as a handy dandy underfloor storage here, which increases your cargo space just by a little bit. I would say it's around the same size of a medium size, some smaller size front trunk, which this vehicle does not have. Now, other cool stuff back here is that we can see we have additional taillights back here. This is because the actual taillights move with the trunk over here. So if you're on the side of a highway and you need to have your flashers on and you need your trunk open, they still have to have these over here required by law. So it kind of looks like a Rolls-Royce-esque part to me, but I think it's a cool little touch. And these are surrounded by one of the iX's most unique features is that this chassis is a blend of aluminum, high-strength steel, as well as carbon fiber composite. BMW is the only manufacturer doing this in a mass production car right now. They've done it on the BMW i3 as well as a few other vehicles, but this one, you can see the entire carbon core structure over here, and when you open up both doors as well, you get a nice little peek of that really cool piece of engineering on the BMW iX. Let's go take a look now at the rear seats of the BMW iX, and while we don't have the ability to lock the doors with comfort access on the door handle from the rear doors, we can still actually open them by just touching it. You're just not going to find that little 3 dots that you get on the front driver and passenger door there. Now touching the door, we're gonna see the door open up and you're gonna watch a green light come on right here. See that kind of blink there, which is really cool, letting us know we've opened our doors. And we have soft close on this one. So if I don't close the door all the way, you can see the iX will pull the door closed in automatically there, which is a really nice luxurious touch. And we have frameless windows are on this vehicle, so it's almost like a Grand Coupe. Really cool construction there. And here you're going to see some of that carbon composite core, which is making up quite a large piece of this BMW iX's structure. Getting into the iX is incredibly easy. We have a really wide square-ish style door opening here. The door is also open really wide as well, and we have a very low step-in height as well, which is a nice touch. Door panels, let's see how nice this thunk sounds. But well, actually, you know what? Let's do some soft close test on the inside. Gently just put the door closed. You can hear the motors pulling the door closed. The window goes up, but in this cabin back here, this is a really cool space, and it's so insanely spacious. Door panels over here, we have, again, really cool ambient light strip on the top over here. We have a Bowers & Wilkins diamond surround sound speaker system as standard on the M70s, which is a really nice touch. I like this kind of panel over here where we can find our door opening pole. And since it's an E door, we actually have an emergency release on all 4 doors to exit. So if something goes wrong, you can always get out of the vehicle. We also are getting an ambient lights bit down here to project light onto our cup holder area over here, as well as some storage pockets, which are actually really huge. We are also getting our own air vent back here. Nice soft cushioned side panel over here for our arms, as well as a window switch over here. And they're not cheap plastic window switches. They're actually this nice gloss black material over here. The backs of the seats are also pretty cool, so we can see through them now since we have the M Sport seats, which we'll get to up front. But we do get our own USB-C port on the back of those seats, as well as a little kind of multi-function little space here to stick in an iPad if you did want to. We also are getting a hook back here, which is nice since it's not integrated up here, though it looks like we actually do have another one. Oh, look at that. So we get multiple hooks on the BMW iX, but no grab handle. You're going to see some of the reflections up here from the front crystal controls, which is kind of funny. But the floor space over here is quite flat, which I really like. I have a lot of foot space, a lot of knee room, a lot of leg room. We have some storage on the backs of these seats. My only complaint here is that I would say the seats are a little low to the ground. As you can see, my legs are kind of sitting upwards just a little bit. I would like a little bit more curvature to these seats, even from this LCI version. But what's really interesting is that if you sit in this center seat over here, both outboard passengers have a lot of room, but I actually have a lot of foot space over here. So I could actually stretch out in the center row of this BMW iX's rear seat. And that's due to having the center console actually kind of cut out really far deep back here to allow for some more foot space. And here we're going to find our rear climate controls, as well as outboard heated seats and our own air vents back here as well. So that's a really nice little control panel there. And these are new seats as well. So these are the new M Sport seats, and this is a leather-free interior option. So we have a Sensitech here, which is BMW's very premium feeling vegan leather, I would say. And we have this really cool M stripe going through all the seats in this vehicle. And this is blended with this kind of Dynamica style Alcantara soft suede material in this center portion over here, as well as the center portion of this upper seat here. This is a very premium feeling cabin. Opening up this little armrest here, very soft micro suede material here. We have 2 cup holders that pop out of this area over here. Pretty sturdy as well, I'd like to see. And of course, all these seats do fold down. And back here, we're going to find even more speakers for our speaker system in this vehicle, as well as lights that move. I don't really see a lot of lights that actually move in a vehicle, but you can see they move. We have some control adjustment here, some ambient light adjustment as well, and you can move them either into like the trunk area if you need, or towards you as well. I feel like I'm in an airplane with this cabin. That's a really cool feature there. And you're going to notice we have this massive glass roof, and thankfully it's electrochromatic. So right now it's completely non-transparent. You press a button, it kind of excites all the stuff, and you can make this kind of a little bit more clear to see out of it. But this does help to provide a little bit more sunshade, even though we don't have a physical sunshade. But let's go see what's going on up front in the BMW iX. Again, the same nice treatment we see on the rear door panels up front here. It's just we're going to get a little bit more extended material on the lower portion of these door handles and some larger door cubbies. Now on this side over here, we're going to see the new M Sport seats, which is new for 2026. And we have a lot of bolstering now, which is fantastic. And like I mentioned, this is a leather-free interior option. So we have this kind of micro suede material on the side. We have the Sensitech in the middle, and in the middle of the seats, more Sensitech, a lot of bolstering, and really cool M stripes going all the way down the center of them. And here we have the interior of the 2026 BMW iX M70. So to put it on, put our foot on the brake. We still have a physical start-stop switch here made out of crystal, which is really nice. And let's turn it on. Let's start with new in this cabin, as the BMW iX is not an all-new vehicle. And well, this is actually a pretty new interior for this life cycle impulse of the iX, especially with this new M70 model. So the iX previously had this sort of like single spoke steering wheel. We're now kind of seeing them introduce the typical BMW M steering wheel throughout the lineup if you go for the M Sport package. So we've seen this on plenty of BMW products, thick, chunky M Sport steering wheel, the M stitching on it. We have this kind of really cool geometric style pattern down here for our lower spoke. It's a fine steering wheel. It's chunky, it's nice, it heats up well. But what's really nice here is we have the crystal controls in the iX, which you could get before, but I just love how cool these crystal seat controls here. They do shine in your face sometimes and all over you. You kind of see rainbows everywhere, but it's a really cool touch. And those crystal controls make their way over to the center console as well for our iDrive controller, as well as for our volume knob, which all of this glows at night. I love BMW's hotkey system they've been doing now. So press this button, it goes right to all of your seat controls and the infotainment screen. Now I mentioned we have a lot of really great bolstering support, so we can move our lower thigh adjustment here, and we get a whole massage program. Again, not the best massage. It's really just moving these little air bladders around, these main giant ones. A good massage system has a whole bunch of tiny little individual air bladders that really move around. But other fun features in here is just you have so much space to move around. I have so much just lateral space, so much legroom. I can really stretch out while not letting the rear passengers lose any leg space. And what's really cool is how insane this dash shape is. It's really futuristic in here. The entire dash is covered, and I mean the entire dash, in this micro suede material. It has this really cool pattern up front over here, which is kind of newish, I would say, for this year. Really like that. We still have our heads-up display further down on the dash over here, and you can see these gorgeous speakers up here as part of this Bowers & Wilkins diamond system here. iDrive 8.5, we've seen this many times before in plenty of BMW products we've reviewed. Nothing's different here than those. So we have our configurable digital cluster up here. And I still think this is probably one of, or if not the best software and infotainment system in the entire industry right now. It is absolutely fantastic, incredibly customizable. And the thing I always say with BMWs is that they put a level of logic into their software and into the thinking that no one else does. Mercedes is a little bit close to it, but there's just another few steps that BMW takes with their engineering that is just unmatched. Everything you kind of go through really works well. We can put Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatever maps you want up here. Lots of configurability up here. Same thing with your actual iDrive infotainment screen over here. So we have our kind of customizable hotkey side panel over here, which is really easy and quick to navigate and use. We can make this giant screen a whole bunch of different stuff from your navigation. This will become either Waze or Apple Maps, depending on what you're using, or Google Maps. The climate controls work really fine now, so you can always access your ventilated seats, or heated steering wheel, even if the climate control system is off, which is a nice touch here, so I don't have to go in there and turn it on every single time. And of course, everything can be controlled via the iDrive controller over here. And we still have those hotkeys for our media, telephone navigation back, as well as a home button switch over here. This is going away for iDrive 10, so I personally might stick with this one if I were to buy one of these vehicles. We have a My Mode switch over here, and all of these are haptic buttons that you do have to press into. It's not just a touch panel. Lots of My Modes in the BMW iX. So we have our personal mode here, our sport mode here, which all of these have more adjustment in them. And then all of these other modes, expressive, relax, digital, art, and silent, are all experiences. These aren't real drive modes. They just do silly things like play crazy sounds or put the massage on for you with these nice different light colors. Your main drive modes are personal, sport, and efficient. Again, we have another hotkey right here. This is going to open up our driver assistance panel over here. Really easy to access all of our driver assistance systems over here, as well as drivetrain and chassis stuff. I have an air suspension controller here, and another fantastic BMW touch is their insanely good parking camera system here. So yes, we can enter, exit, leave spaces. We can do the backup assistant. We can record a new path. But as you're going to notice, all the buttons are really kind of centered around this whole little floating piece over here, which I think is really nice. It looks a little bit nicer in the more leather options interiors, and there's a little bit of some scratchier plastics over here, but this whole upper portion is actually very nicely designed. We have a phone holder here that's actually passed through, so you can stick your charge cord through it to where down here you're going to find your wireless charging mat over here with ventilation. We have two USB-C ports, a 12-volt socket, as well as huge two cup holders over here. And you're gonna note the floor is completely open up front. So I guess you have a little bit more space. I feel like they could have used this space a little bit better in the iX, maybe put like another little lip over here to put some stuff in, but nonetheless, that's what you get. We have some kind of a textile material over here, as well as a physical button, thankfully, for our glove box, which is a little bit on the smaller end, but it does feel nice and premium still. And we have some more physical buttons next to our 2 center air vent controls over here, which are not those silly new BMW version air vent controls. It's just a good old air vent control here. But I like how BMW has set up this kind of hotkey system, like I mentioned, for like the seat controls, for your driver assistance or driving controls there, and even for your headlight controls. You can turn off stuff with your headlights here, but press this button, it's going to pop it open to your headlight panel over here in the infotainment system. And I like these hotkeys as you don't have to kind of just search throughout the screen to find stuff. You just go where you typically would find it and it opens it up in the iDrive panel for you. Same thing can be said for the interior ambient lighting controls. So all I have to do is press this little button up here and it's going to open up my lighting panel. So I can actually adjust all the interior lights from this screen as they're all digital. And we can control all of our interior ambient lighting through here as well. So really cool stuff. And you can adjust your master cockpit brightness. And up here is where you're going to find our interior camera, which actually works at night, which is pretty cool. Really bright interior illumination for your reading lights, as well as our controller for our electrochromatic roof over here. So as you can see right now, it is clear. I press the little button and it goes not clear anymore. So that's a really cool feature there. And these seats, like I mentioned, are so comfortable. There's so much adjustment with them, and it gets you the 4D Bowers & Wilkins experience. So there's speakers and like bass generators within this actual seat that really gives you this insane kind of 3D and what they call 4D sound experience in this vehicle. And it is absolutely amazing. So you definitely got to go test that out in person, as I really cannot capture that on camera. Now, I also have to mention is the radiant heating the iX does. Now, this is from the pre-LCI, but also this one has it as well. This entire armrest is split heating. So if I have my heated seat on, this panel is going to heat for me for my arm. Same thing for the front passenger. This panel will heat for them. I can also just obviously open this up in the fan style to our center console storage, which is really quite deep and felt lined. And we have this little kind of upper storage portion over here as well. Nice, very premium sound closing over there. And this entire door panel heats up for me as well for my entire arm. So lots of radiant heating, and that's a great way to heat up the cabin without using your blower motor. And that, of course, obviously is going to help you improve your range estimate over a longer course of time. So let's go take this down on a drive and see how it is out on the road. We'll start off this drive in sports mode. Okay, that is crazy. And you really did not need more power in this vehicle. This is a luxury vehicle first, honestly, at the end of the day. Even though it is a BMW, it drives incredibly well for what it is. Now, of course, the iX, we get variable steering as well. It's actually very well calibrated. It doesn't really make anyone sick in the cabin, and it doesn't really feel like you're kind of wobbling on the road, which I like, but it does work in really good situations. Even coming around a corner here, yeah, acceleration, grip, turn in, everything in this car has amazed me. I've been waiting to drive the iX for years. We're gonna pop it back into a more tame mode here. We'll pop it into efficient just for a little bit. Everything calms down, the car races back up to its regular air suspension height. We also have an adaptive air suspension, blue ambient lighting as well, and this is where you're going to get the max range out of it. But all the chassis dynamics in the iX have genuinely impressed me this week. Even in this M70, which has a sportier suspension than the iX lineup, the rest of the iX lineup, it's impressively quiet in here. It's really pretty generally soft, and on a smooth road you feel like you are genuinely, and I don't always say this, gliding on a cloud, and not a floating, you know, luxury barge cloud, like a precision controlled cloud. It's really, really impressive, combined with BMW's software logic here. So we have adaptive regen on, so it knows now I'm coming up to a stop sign. It will start slowing down additionally for me, just letting me know, put your foot on the brake, you'll come to a stop, which is really cool. And if there's a car in front of you, it'll slow down in adaptive regenerative braking mode just a little bit. And all these other conditions, like going around a corner, it uses the maps and knows. I can put it into B mode as well for a more braking one pedal style driving experience there. If I want that, I can also turn that off and go in and set different kinds of regen levels. You have a lot of adjustment there. As an EV, this really is incredible. I'm very excited to see how the BMW has kind of done the iX3 on the new class architecture, to see what's kind of different from this. We do have a launch mode, which is kind of violent. It starts shaking the vehicle as almost, you know, if you're like, it's ready to like release from being held back, but it's kind of an experience, especially for the passengers. Merging into traffic here. This thing has no issues with any sort of power or passing or anything in the iX. It is just a absolute machine when it comes to power. Now, out on the highway, I like to either run in efficient mode or just my personal mode we have set up here. So I'll set up in personal mode. Of course, you can configure this digital cluster to be whatever you like, even a AR camera. If you have the BMW navigation running, I can set it to be up an AR camera so I can see what's going on, or just have your speed set up there. Now, one thing I do genuinely want to talk about is the driving assistant professional package that this particular iX has, and you can get in a lot of BMWs these days. This has now been refined even further, and I have to say, I think it is better than Super Cruise and Blue Cruise in some cases. I haven't gotten an exact quote figure on how many, you know, exact highway miles this works on. It's not like a Tesla system where, you know, hands-free, full self-driving supervised. No one's really doing that because it's a little wonky, but in terms of the actual full, you know, systems I would put my full trust into, this is incredibly worth the money here. So on the left-hand side of our steering wheel, just activate our cruise control system there, and it's on. That's it. I can set my speed adjustment. Only annoying things are my distance controls are in the infotainment system, which I have to go in and, you know, kind of dig through to get, which is not really smart. Now, what is really smart here is we have Assist Plus. So Assist is really just, you know, your radar adaptive cruise control with steering assist. But Assist Plus on highways that are, you know, pre-approved, you can take your hands off the wheel. It has a camera sensor right there. I'm not sure if that's coming across on camera. Infrared sensor tracking your eyes. And what I really love about this system is that it is completely seamless. All I have to do when it says Assist Plus is take my hands off the wheel and it's on. That's it. That is absolutely it. And I absolutely love that. The second I touch the wheel, it knows I'm touching it, and it goes right back into radar adaptive cruise control. You can see there's cars stopping up ahead. It's like, oh, maybe you want to take some more control there. It starts slowing down with the distance adjustment. Really and truly impressive operation with this. And you can kind of force it into some more normal modes here. So I can force it into just distance control if I want to, or assisted driving. I don't have to use the Assist Plus, but it works incredibly well. Oh, lane change, look in the mirror. I love that feature of BMW. That is absolutely epic, and you can just see how confident it is. It's only going to do that when it knows there's enough space in your lane to make that change. And now we're in the Assisted Plus mode. I'm not touching the steering wheel whatsoever, and this goes for quite some time until it tells you either you're not paying attention, it can't see your eyes, or, you know, there's a condition where the road's not mapped properly. But yeah, so really great week with the BMW iX, and as always, guys, stay tuned for more coming on Allcarnews. Thank you for joining us on this review and drive of the 2026 BMW iX M70, and stay tuned for more coming soon.